prolonged program.
That's why I'm trying to do that rules thing. That's why I'm trying to video the rules thing.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our 2025-2026 Hall of Fame and Athletic Awards ceremony. Tonight is a very special night as we recognize the history of our athletic teams with our Hall of Fame inductees and our current athletic teams with our participation awards and the major awards voted on by our coaching staff. It is truly a night of celebration from the past and the present. I'd also like to talk about our overall athletic department. The saying, "It takes a village," is so true with our athletic department. I would like to thank everyone for their assistance in their various ways. There are a few people that I'd like to recognize individually. The list is a little bit long, so please bear with me. That's why it takes a village. First, I'd like to thank our Hall of Fame committee. It's a group of individuals that have strong ties with Stonewall, and it covers various generations and various classes. And we do that to make sure that we try to make sure that every athlete who is deserving of this recognition has the opportunity to make the list and be part of the Hall of Fame. I'd also like to thank our administration, Mr. Lennox, Mr. Rinker, principal and assistant principal. I'm very fortunate both these guys have a strong understanding of athletics, as they both have been in my shoes. Mr. Lennox actually being the AD here before me. I'd also like to thank Dr. Shepard and our Central Office Administration. Tremendous support from them as well. And that support has a tremendous value to me personally and to our student athletes. Next, guys, they take care of me. I pick on Mr. Dawson all the time, tell him he's taking care of his grandfather when he helps me out. But Mr. Dylan Dawson, Mr. Kyle Kokanen, those guys are my assistant ADs, and I could not do this job by myself. They take a tremendous burden off my plate and keep me going throughout the day and years. I'd also like to thank Mr. Dan Carroll, our athletic trainer. He takes care of our athletic needs. As I said before about Mr. Carroll, there's never a time that there's an injury on a field or court that I'm overly concerned, because I know he is so knowledgeable and our athletes are in the best of hands under his guidance. Next, I'd like to thank Coach Burner. I've jokingly said that I'm a stone and chisel guy. Technology is not my friend, and Coach Burner takes care of me with our general sports update and also the recognitions that he puts on there with our Hall of Fame write-ups. I'd also like to thank our Booster Club. Our three ladies there, Jessica, Lee, and Carrie, you guys keep the club going and help support us in so many ways. It's unrecognized. Luckily tonight is one of those ways that people will see with our scholarships. I'd like to thank our coaches, our athletes, and our parents. Those are three major parts of giving our kids the opportunity to be athletes at this school. And it takes all three of them to bring it together and for them to have the positive experience that they have by being an athlete here. I'd like to thank our ticket takers and our staff for all the help and support they offer to me. It's nice knowing that certain people help me in different ways, and it takes a huge burden off my plate, just as Ms. Painter did with the finger foods for tonight. I don't have to worry about it. Ms. Painter says, "You want me to do it again this year?" And I say, "Yes, definitely." So I do appreciate everyone who takes part in ownership of our athletic department. And there's tons of other people that I know I'm not recognizing individually, and I apologize, but all those people make this a special place to be. We're extremely lucky at SJHS to have such a wonderful group of people to come together in our community and our school to support our student athletes. That's what makes this place special. Now I'd like to move forward with our program. If you look in your program there's basically an agenda for tonight. We will be able to follow that pretty much as listed there. And we'll start out with our Hall of Fame inductions. And I'll first introduce Mr. Leonard Veney to come up, please.
You might not notice it, I'm scared as crap. Out of my element. Mr. Walters was supposed to do this tonight, but he was unable to make it. So he said, since I played for Mr. Hodson, that I should be the one to do it. So I'll give it a go. Again, I'm using technology, so hang on. All right, this is what Mr. Walters wrote and asked me if I would read this. He said, the guys that played for John learned not only how to play the game, but he emphasized discipline, good values, loyalty, and helped prepare them for the game of life. I could give you all of John's coaching records, etc., but that's just a small part of John's contribution to Shenandoah County education. He later became an administrator in our school system, and his contribution to the youth of Shenandoah County has been tremendous. A little background on our relationship. In the mid-'60s, more than half a century ago, John became the head coach at Stonewall. I was his JV coach. I graduated from Stonewall's first class, and college is one of my many goals in life was to be the head coach at Stonewall. John ruined that goal. He was so successful and such a good coach that I recognized it would be a long time before that would happen. John is one of my best friends. We lived adjacent to each other and raised our kids together. I learned so much from him. His love for the youth was unmatched. He is definitely deserving of this honor. We were talking about 1/2 century ago, and he is still relevant. Enough said. John, thanks for the lifetime friendship. Now, on a personal note, when I first started playing basketball, he took me under his wing, sort of. I was scared, and he had nothing but faith in me. He brought me along. I made a lot of mistakes, but he stayed with me. I got better, our team got better, and for that I am grateful. And I can honestly say he's a great coach and a great friend. John.
Can you hear me okay? As a coach, former principal, I know how to talk. And I would like to say a couple things. When I came to Stonewall in 1966, we had a bunch of kids that just, it's hard to explain the heart that they had. And we had kids from Mount Jackson, New Market, and out in the country. But they all came together and they worked hard. And I came in 66 and I left in 75. But we had, I think, success. We had some great basketball players. and they were very enthusiastic. They contributed, and Leonard Veney was one of them. In fact, the Veney clan, because there was a mess up. And but the Warriors, you can go on, I can pick out individuals, but as a team, they played as a team. It was old District 10 at the time. It was a tough district, and we represented ourselves well. But my fondest years, when I came, I planned on really, we bought a house, and I planned on staying. But opportunity presented itself, and I went on to the principalship. But I really appreciate the opportunity that Stonewall Jackson High School gave me in the beginning of my career. Thank you very much.
This time I'll ask Mr. Carroll to come forward to recognize our contributors for our Hall of Fame.
All right. Been here for almost 20 years, and it's the first time I've gotten to get up and give one of these types of speeches. But you guys, we get kind of a 3-for-1 deal right here. So, tonight I have the distinct honor to say a few words about a group of men and women who, in my opinion, cannot receive enough recognition for what they do. Many of them are graduates of this school, some of which have graduated and gone on since my tenure here, so we won't really say how old that makes me. Athletics teaches discipline, resilience, and the ability to perform under pressure. These same qualities are lived out day by day by our local fire and EMS. While athletes train to compete to win, firefighters and EMS providers train to save lives and serve their community, often in the most challenging of circumstances. You may have noticed them just outside the end zone of a football game or near the finish line at a cross-country meet. And we always hope that their services are not called upon, but we know that they are ready to respond at a moment's notice. That ability to respond quickly comes with hours of training, and that is what most people don't see. Years ago, I started hosting our local fire and EMS personnel for a yearly training here at the high school. We go over things like emergency football equipment removal, protocols, emergency action plans. This has become a great collaboration between our athletic department and the emergency service personnel in our area. Just like practice in athletics helps you prepare for the game, practicing these things benefits the response when our athletes need them, and it makes everything go more smoothly. Tonight, it is fitting that within this Hall of Fame, where we celebrate strength, teamwork, and perseverance, that we also honor those who embody those same traits in service to others. Our local fire and EMS personnel represent the very best of what it means to be strong, prepared, and committed to something greater than oneself. It is with great pride and deep gratitude that we recognize and induct Mount Jackson Rescue and Fire, New Market Fire and Rescue, and Shenandoah County Fire and Rescue into Stonewall Jackson's High School Hall of Fame. I would like for any of our local first responders that are in the crowd, please stand and be recognized right now. Please come down.
through the short straw. Good evening, my name is Billy Street. I was here as a student athlete about 35 years ago, and I knew when I graduated I would never make it here as an athlete and in the Hall of Fame, but I'm just blessed to be representing the men and women in uniform who have helped over the years to provide for the safety of our athletes. Dan Carroll has done an amazing job. He has really been proactive, and we've just been super grateful to be able to support this community and making sure everybody stays safe and goes home at the end of the night. So thank you so much.
Now I'll ask Mr. Fred Greene to come forward to introduce our first athlete, Ms. Gay Jordan Rinker.
Good evening, thank you. Billy Street. If you could have beat me, you probably would have made it into the Hall of Fame. It's good to see you. Our next inductee played basketball and ran track and field. She played basketball for 5 years, 3 years as a JV and 2 years as a varsity. She was co-captain every year of her JV and varsity career. She didn't score a lot. She was a defensive specialist, and these words came out of her mouth. My job was to get the ball to the scorers. Her junior year, her team was co-champs and district runner-up. But where she really shined was in track and field. 4 years as a varsity track and field athlete, she qualified for the state meet every year as an individual or as a member of a relay team, and she also scored every year as an individual or a member of a relay team. During her junior and senior season, during the regular season, she was the leading scorer for the track team. Her sophomore season, the track team was regional champs. Her junior season, the track team was state champs, and her senior season, they were state runner-up. When she graduated in 1977, she held the school record for the 100-yard dash, the 220-yard dash, and she was also a member of the record-saving 880-yard relay team. Also, in her senior year, she was named Female Athlete of the Year, the first year that award was ever given, and the Female Track Athlete of the Year. I am pleased to welcome Gay Jordan Rinker.
I was a bit in a panic when I was told I had to say a few words. So first, thank you to the committee for putting my name in the hat for the Hall of Fame. I'm truly honored. Looking out at you, you don't know who I am. But many years ago, I was an athlete. I was a student at Stonewall Jackson High School, a general and proud of it. Personally, I am proud to have played basketball and run track for Stonewall. I'm glad to have been on that track team in 1976. Sure, I have medals on my jacket, trophies, ribbons, and plaques. But you see, it wasn't about me, myself, and I. It was about my team. We were representing our school. I have 3 sisters, all who were athletes at Stonewall. 2 are Hall of Famers. We would practice at school, go home, and practice more with our dad. Some would think Dad was way too hard on us, but if you knew us, that's just what we did. Looking back, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. But it definitely made us better athletes and better people, and it taught us to be disciplined, don't ever give up or quit, and always give it your all and then some. So when I think about my high school sports, I think of Julie Thomas, a young coach right out of college, but you know her as Julie Wilkins. Having her as a coach is a memory that I will cherish forever. She never said anything ugly to us, even when she wanted more from us. Julie knew every girl individually and how to coach us to make us better and how to win. She She never quit on us. She was dedicated to us as we were to her. I didn't always like her practices in the snow, rain, wind, and heat, but I never quit. I made a choice to give it my all for my team and for Julie. I remember she made us pair up with a guy. I had Smokey Veney. His job was my full flat out sprint, just to keep up with him. But Julie was challenging me, and I respected her for that. My goal was to get in my blocks, get to that finish line first, where she was with the stopwatch. Something Julie always had us to do was stand up on our bus coming home from away games and sing the alma mater with pride, whether we won or lost. To this day, I am proud to have gone to Stonewall. I'm proud to be a general. I kept in touch with Julie after school, and we would reminisce about the ball games and track meets. She remembered everything. She would say, boy, you all were good. I would say, well, you were a great coach. She'd say, well, I had talent to coach. We would go back and forth, back and forth. I can still see the joy on her face. She loved to coach. These memories are some of my best ones. It was hard work, but it was fun. So as you seniors leave, look back at your memories that you have made here. Inside these walls, you're a family. Be proud of who you are and where you came from. Walk into the future and let the Lord be your guidance. Some of your days are going to be hard, but don't give up. Remember, you're a general. Thank you.
This time I ask Mr. Roger Miller to come forward, please. He'll be talking about his teammate, Charlie Phillips, and Charlie's family will be here to receive the award in honor of Charlie.
Good evening. My name is Roger Miller, and I want to tell you a little bit about a teammate of mine, Charlie Phillips, who will be inducted into the Hall of Fame here at Stonewall tonight. A lot of you will be saying, who's Charlie Phillips? Well, most of you weren't born back then when he played here. Your parents wasn't born. Your grandparents or your great-grandparents, they would have remembered Charlie. Charlie was, he come on the varsity as a sophomore in 1962. He was a 6'2" lean fellow with, he was a good defender, an excellent rebounder, and he would put, as a sophomore, he'd put up 8 to 10 points a ball game. And as a junior, he probably put up 10 to 20 points a ball game. Now, if you, Charlie was a player that just never give up. I'll have to go back in 1962, 1963. That was the 2 years that I was a teammate with Charlie. 1962, he was a I would say a good fix for our team. He was a fellow that fit right in with what we needed as a well-balanced basketball team. 1962, we ended up in 3rd place in the district that year, going into the playoffs. Central was in 2nd place. Broadway was number 1. We had to play Central the first game, and, well, we turned the tables on them. They beat us in the regular season, but we beat them in the playoffs. And then the very next night, we had to play Broadway. Now, Broadway was undefeated that year, and they were predicted to go all the way. Northern Virginia Daily and Daily News Record both had them going all the way that year. But by the end of the game, the score was 55 to 53. Stonewall Jackson. We were District 10 Group 2 champions that year. We not only stopped there, we went on to play 2 games in the regionals, and we won both of those, went to the state at semifinals, and we lost there by 6 points to Wilson Memorial. Wilson Memorial was undefeated that year also. They weren't that much better than us, but they were a whole lot bigger. They were, the starting 5 ranged anywhere from 6'4" to 6'7". And they ended our season. But the next year, 1963, we were predicted to make another run on the championship because only one starting player was graduated the year before. And sure enough, we ended up in first place in the district. We went 18-2. The two losses we had were one to Broadway by 2 points and one to Page County by 1 point. So we went into the playoffs again. We were number 1 and Broadway was number 2. We went in there and it came down to Stonewall Jackson and Broadway playing in the championship game. Now, Broadway had this 6'10" center by the name of Lynn Burkholder. In that final game, well, he was scoring 24 points a ball game that year. In that particular game, he would come down and set up 8 or 10 feet from the basket. And just about every time down the court, they would work the ball into him. And he had a little turnaround jump shot. We really didn't have anybody that could match up to him. So he ended up scoring 51 points against us. That's still a tournament record as far as I know. But, and I say but, me and Charlie together put up 56 points. So after 2 overtimes and the dust settled, the score was Stonewall Jackson 69 and Broadway 68. So we were District 10 Group 2 champions 2 times, back to back. And I think that back-to-back championship made that team one of the best to ever play in Group 2 in this area. Now, Charlie, he didn't live long enough to receive this award. He passed away a few years ago. But I know that he knew that he was a big part of those championships. I can't believe that Charlie wouldn't really enjoy being here tonight. A couple of boys over here, they look exactly like him. When they come up here, you'll see Charlie. So that was the 2 years that I played with him. Now, thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you, Roger. This is a really neat thing for our family. We had about a dozen of us roll down from Northern Virginia tonight, and we were so excited because Dad maintained an attachment to this place after he left in '64. Matter of fact, he kept his jacket. I had planned to wear this ever since Keith told us about a month ago that this was going to happen. And you would have thought I would have tried it on before 7 p.m. And I neglected to do that. So if you're asking, does he know how goofy he looks right now? I knew he was going to look. The answer is not quite. So he just loves Stonewall. We heard a lot of stories about Stonewall when we were kids. When we'd go to family gatherings, he had a nephew, Mike Phillips, who would, they'd kind of huddle and update on he'd get an update on what the generals were doing. So it meant a lot to him, and in particular, Coach Jim Odell, who I believe at the time coached football, basketball, and track, all three of them. But Coach Odell had a big impact on Dad's life, and as kids, we benefited from the love of sport that he developed here. He coached my sister many, many years in basketball. She went on to earn the career point total for a career at her high school, Robinson Secondary in Fairfax, and was able to get a scholarship to UConn to play basketball. He coached me in basketball as well. I got cut from the high school team. It didn't rub off quite as much, but it's worth mentioning that Dad coached all of us when we were kids. So I was the oldest. He coached me through Little League, went back and got my brother and took him through. And then my sister played Little League with the boys. And when she graduated, she wasn't going to go to the next level. So him and his coach, who happened to be his best friend, decided just to keep the team for a little bit. And they kept the same team for 35 years. He impacted over 700 kids. Yeah, this is Little League baseball, but it was all this impact that the coach had and the love of sport that he developed here. So I want to encourage all the coaches here to, you never know what kind of impact that you're making. So keep that in mind when you get up in the early mornings or you're out at practice and it's 10 degrees. We wanted to say congrats as a family to all of the other inductees this evening and all you seniors that are going to get awards. So this really means a lot to us. Thank you.
This is a jacket they give us in 1962. That's how old that jacket is. I can't get in mine any longer.
This time I ask Coach Sherwood to come forward to introduce Mr. Darren Steadman.
It is my honor and my pleasure to introduce Darren Steadman for induction into the Stonewall Jackson Hall of Fame. I know that Dick Cole would have loved to be here, and I'm sure he's smiling down on us now. Darren is definitely one of his favorites. As were all of the boys that played on those two regional championship teams we had back in 1996 and 97. Darren is an elite athlete for this school. He's an all-state football player. There were very, very few all-state football players at Stonewall Jackson High School. I'm not sure exactly how many, but it's probably count on one hand. He currently lives in Richmond. He's married to wife Abby, and he has 2 pit bull dogs. I wish he had some children for a football program.
Mom does too.
He's ordained Episcopal priest as of 2018 and works at St. Christopher's Episcopal School for Boys as an elementary school chaplain. I thought about Darren when I was asked to do this, and I thought, my first impression of Darren when he was a football player was that he would have made a terrific tight end. Unfortunately, our biggest player weighed about 200 pounds, and that was our quarterback at the time. And so Darren got pressed into service as a center, which was very fortunate for us. I remember him standing at the line of scrimmage, and we would run a play, and whoever finished the play would throw the ball back, and Darren would stand there and catch it with one hand. No matter where it was, one hand, either hand, all the time. One of the things I remember was that he liked water. We would weigh the kid boys in before practice and weigh them in after practice and see how much weight they had lost, and that's how much water they had to replace before the next practice. Darren always weighed more after practice than before practice. Every water break, he was the first one at the water bucket, and he was the last one to leave. So we were always waiting. I thought it would be good to get some of the comments from his teammates. Jimmy Wood said, off the field, Darren was polite, kind, and mild-mannered, but on the field, he would physically punish people. Jason Woods, who was the quarterback, had never had any worries about what was going to happen in front of me. Darren was the center. We were an under center team all the time. We weren't one shotgun team. The quarterback was, 3 miles back at the center in safe territory. He said Darren had a way of using his body to make everybody else look better. Seth Kaufman said Darren knew how to best use leverage to his advantage. People underestimated him because he was not very big. But he got his hands on you, and when he got his hands on you, you were done. And I think the biggest compliment came from Coach Glenn Proctor up at Strasburg when Dick nominated Darren for an all-district position. Coach Proctor said, "Oh, that Steadman boy, he's a beast." So I introduced the beast, Darren Steadman.
I think when I was 11 years old, playing for Veney Stout, Little League football, we're playing at Central, and Veney comes out, talks to us in the huddle, and says, "Look here, we're going to run a play." He calls a play, and he said, "This time, boys, we're running it on 2. On 2 this time. You got it? On 2. Yes, sir. We stepped up to the line of scrimmage, and I'm at left tackle. Down! Set! Hut! And I jump off sides. Oh my God. Veney Stout, great big grizzly bear of a man, loud enough for the entire stadium. Cub! They call me Cub. Cub! And he said those words, the worst possible words you could hear. Come here to me! So I took a long, lonely walk at 11 years old over to Veney. And I know now, he said, "Come here to me," because he could think of all the worst stuff by the time I walked from there to there. And he just said, "Hit the bench!" And I did, and I remember it. I don't remember much from when I was 11 years old, but I remember it was awfully lonely. And I think both sidelines were completely silent. And I sat on the bench for maybe 2 plays, all by myself. None of my teammates had the guts to come up and say anything to me. They're scared to death as well. And finally, Veney comes over to me and hovers over me and says, "Damn it, Cub! Excuse me. You're the smartest man on this team! Now get back in there!" I got off easy. And I swear, I think it's the truth. Little League, Senior League, JV, Varsity, I never jumped off sides of the net. Thank you, Veney South. When I was I am a preacher, sorry, I do talk a little bit. When I was in 8th grade, I got invited, very nice, to try out for the JV basketball team. Coach Cubbage, thank you very much. And I showed up for basketball practice, and we got on that line, and we ran to this line, and that, and we ran, and he had us down doing defensive slides, left, right, back and forth, and we're running full court layups and full court press. And I don't remember touching a basketball a whole lot. It was just running. And then after a couple of those practices, maybe a week, me and my buddy John Spigel, both in 8th grade, we went into Coach's office. Do you remember this? And we said, "Coach, I think you made me talk. Coach Cubbage, John and I think would just like to play 8th grade basketball this year." He said, "Don't work like that, boys." It took him a half a second. And he said, "I'm going to tell you what team you're going to play on. I'll see you guys back at practice tomorrow." You remember that? Thanks a lot. And so we did. We came back to practice and we ran and ran and ran. I'm still not convinced he knows a whole lot about basketball. So we just ran. And so in 8th grade. But I got the end of this story, I got the best of it because my friend John Spigel was 6'8". So he stayed at the JV team. I got to go down with Coach Berner here and play 8th grade basketball, where it's all fun and hugs and kisses. So I got the best day there. All right, Coach. When I was in 9th grade, our JV football coach was Todd Fannin, and he came out of God knows where, West Virginia, and he immediately just started drilling us and running us just like that, and just worked us and worked us and worked us in 9th grade. And it was unlike anything we'd ever experienced before, I think. And one night, one practice, it's getting dark outside, and Coach Fannin pulls us in and is like, "Everybody, come in, take a knee," and we take our helmets off thinking practice is over. And it's pretty dark. And he says, "Guys, if we're going to continue on this season together, I got to know what you're made of." And then one by one, he started calling all the starters. Not the second string guys, they sat. And he said, "Okay, Steadman here, Kaufman here, ready, here we go." He tossed one of us the football and just make us crash and hit each other in the middle. And whoever went this side or that side won it. All right, next, blew the whistle. Next batch, Jimmy, Jason, tossed the football, and we just hit, and it just got darker and darker, and we just kept hitting each other, and he'd come up with new, interesting ways to say, "Steadman, you're going to block so-and-so, and you got to tackle, don't let him get a yard. Here we go, ready?" And we just hit each other, and oh my God. And the next morning, I woke up, and from here on my football helmet to here where the pads are, this part of my neck was just a big red bloody welt, and this one was too, from just hitting and hitting. But at the end of that practice, when it was truly dark outside, he sat us all back down, and he said, "Gentlemen, I believe tonight you went from boys to men." And I think we did. We did. So thank you, Coach Fannin. He did right by us. And then come varsity football, it's time for Coach Carroll. And the story I want to tell about Coach Carroll, though, is a little different. He called a couple of us together and said, "Down in Men's Bottoms, they're having some sort of an event, and they asked me to come up with a few guys to help park cars, and they're going to pay you $50 if you go help." So me and Seth and a couple others, we went that Saturday morning and we waved flags and parked cars or whatever, had a good time. And at the end of a long day, 6 or 7 hours of this, somebody who was organizing, I said, thank you very much, boys, here you go, and hand us an envelope. Thank you, and we went back home. And inside that envelope was a couple buy one, get ones at Burger King coupons. I said, oh man, you remember that? And so next week, we didn't make a big deal of it, but Coach Carroll said, guys, did you all do that thing? Did you help part? Yeah, thank you all very much. And we mentioned, yeah, Coach, you won't believe it. They gave us an envelope with some darn Whopper coupons. And he said, really? Huh. Okay, and the next morning, Coach Carroll comes into school and hands us each an envelope with a check for $50 on it, signed by him. And that's one of 100 stories of what Coach Carroll did around here. There was this one football practice, though, where we're practicing out there, and we're pretty good. Our junior year, we won the regional championship for the first time. And we're undefeated after a couple weeks. And we're probably messing around. I don't remember it completely, but we thought we were pretty good. And so we're probably out there at practice just kind of goofing and laughing, and we did that a lot, but we're doing it more than usual. And our best player, arguably, is Jason, the quarterback, the 200-pound quarterback and middle linebacker, both ways every single game. And he's in the Hall of Fame, of course, too. And Jason's doing the same, and maybe he's cracking a few jokes. And everybody's kind of having a good time except for Coach Carroll. And he's saying, get your eyes on the ball. He's bossing us around, he's ordering us around, and we're saying, yeah, we're good. And some sort of play happened, and we lined up, and something didn't go right. And we all knew for years there's a rule in the handbook, the playbook. If you screw up at practice and Coach Shit says, go take a shower, if that happens twice, you're off the team. And nobody in our memory ever got a shower. But Coach Carroll said, let's! Our star quarterback. It's this quiet. Take a shower for the first time ever. And our best player and our star quarterback captain walked off the field and took a shower. Because we were messing around. Because we thought that we were good enough to mess around and win. But Coach Carroll did better. He knew that we had to stick to the standard. And we did. And we won the region. And we did next year too. And that's the only time I've seen a coach give any player a shower. And it was Jason. So thank you, Jason, wherever you are. I'm glad it was me. That's the kind of guy Coach Carroll was, of course. He had a standard of excellence, an expectation for us, way higher than we could have possibly had for ourselves. And we were pretty darn good because of it. Coach Carroll passed away in 2019, and his son Scott called me, said, I hear you're a pastor. Yes, God. And we had a nice talk, and it was great getting to know him. And he said, would you do the funeral? And I did. And it was only about 10 people. Small little family funeral. But you should have seen the pictures. The family photos of him as a granddad with grandkids and just wearing silly hats and drinking beer and wearing flip-flops everywhere. It was awesome. And Scott, after all that, we had a nice little family funeral. And Scott said, I'm going through his stuff in his house, and he saved every newspaper clipping, every letter, every thank you card, and it's just stacked to the ceiling, and his house is full of this stuff. And I had kind of forgotten, but we had given him this thing, and he said, I found this, Darren, and I want to give it to you. And so here we got a football that's signed by the 96 first regional champion football team. Seth and Jimmy, and they signed it, and me and Jason. And Scott said, I want you to have this thing. And nobody's seen it because he's been married in his house for 20 years. And now it's been in my bedroom for 6 years. And then Coach Cubbage, It's yours now. I hope you do well. Put that somewhere where we can all remember the excellence of Coach Carroll. He's too humble. Coach Carroll was too humble to do such a thing, but I'm not. And he's not here, and I am, so put that where everybody can see it, please, for Coach Carroll.
Absolutely.
Seniors, young people, juniors, sophomores, I'm thinking about you. I'm excited for you. Seniors, my prayer for you guys is that I hope that you seek and find, like where's Waldo? Look out next year and the next year for good leaders around you. Look out for those really good bosses and coaches and whoever brings out your best. Because the world needs more Veney Stouts and Coach Carrolls. And seniors, I hope the next ones are you. Thank you all. Go Generals!